Welcome to this video, which is a sequel to my earlier video in which I discussed using titles. Titles like Mr., Mrs., Miss, Ms., Doctor, Professor. Now, I have discussed here three rules. First, never add a title to your own name. So, implication is that I can't say I am Mr. Hareshwar Singh, or when I am ending a letter, I cannot sign Mr. Hareshwar Singh. I must say I am Hareshwar Singh. So you cannot use Mr., Miss, Mrs., whatever to your own name, either in a speech or writing. Rule number 2, never use two titles at a time. Now look at this sentence. Now I request Prime Minister Mr. Modi to inaugurate the statue or to unveil the statue. Now that is incorrect. The correct expression is, now I request Prime Minister Modi to unveil the statue. You cannot use Prime Minister and Mr. together. But of course, in India, if you say Prime Minister Modi, most people would consider it impolite. But that is the correct English. Prime Minister Modi. Now I request Justice Katju. Now I request, I invite Justice Khanna. You don't have to say Justice Mr. Khanna. So you cannot use two titles at a time. Or let's say, I welcome President Mr. Joe Biden. Incorrect, totally incorrect. The correct way is, I welcome President Joe Biden, or I welcome President Biden to address the gathering. Rule number 3, never add a title to the first name. May I speak to Mr. Ramesh? That is totally incorrect. Sometimes I receive phone calls from a school who wants to interview me for a teaching position. So somebody on the line from the other end asks, am I speaking to Mr. Hareshwar? I feel like reminding the lady on the line, madam, it is incorrect. You are not speaking to Mr. Hareshwar. You are speaking to Mr. Hareshwar Singh, or you are speaking to Mr. Singh. So remember, may I speak to Mr. Ramesh is wrong. It is incorrect. The correct way is, may I speak to Mr. Ramesh Sharma, Mr. Ramesh Chaudhary, whatever the family name may be, or just may I speak to Mr. Sharma. Now let me show you some examples, authentic examples. Mr. Pronounce Mr. is used when you are addressing a man, an adult man. In my earlier video, I said that if somebody is not an adult below 18, in Britain they use master, although it is going out of use increasingly. So for an adult man, Mr., Ms. I also told you MS dot should be pronounced Ms, not to confuse it with Miss. MS dot pronounced Ms is for addressing a woman. It can be used for all women. So people often use this instead of Mrs. or Miss. But be careful. There are people like I will discuss in a little while. Well, let's go to Mrs. Pronounce Mrs. as you can say, is for a married woman. When you are saying or writing someone's full name in a really formal situation, you should find out if they are married or not and use the correct salutation Mrs. or Miss. Now, if there is a woman who is not married and you say Mrs., you may be in trouble. Same way, there may be married women and they may like to hide their marital status. So they may like it more if you introduce them as Ms. MS dot, which does not reveal whether a woman is married or unmarried. Then Miss. Mind you, all these titles take a dot, but Miss doesn't take a dot. Pronounced Miss is for an unmarried woman. That is obvious. And like other titles, like include doctor, pronounced doctor, professor, judge. As I said, in India we say justice, president, okay, governor, blah blah blah, all. Now, an important rule, you normally use these titles with a person's last name. Using a title with a person's first name sounds a little childish. As I showed you, when somebody says, may I speak to Mr. Ramesh, that is childish. You should use Mr. with the surname, with the family name like Sharma or Chaudhary, not with the first name. Let me show you other examples. Now, here you see Principal Ray Smith. This is again, I am using Oxford Learners Dictionaries. I am in definition number 2. Principal Ray Smith, principal of a school or college. You can't say Principal Mr. Ray Smith. That is the correct way. Let us look at other examples. Here, President Clinton does not maintain an office at the William J. Clinton Presidential Library and Museum. It says President Clinton. It doesn't say President Mr. Clinton or President Mr. Bill Clinton. It doesn't say that. President Clinton, because President has taken the place of Mr. So remember, don't use two titles at a time. Look at it. Messrs, as I said in my video, Messrs is the plural of Mr. And look here, used as the plural of Mr. before a list of names and before names of business companies. So Messrs. Smith, Brown and Jones. So there are three people. All three are gentlemen. So you don't say Mr. Smith, Mr. Brown and Mr. Jones. No need. You just say Messrs. Smith, Brown and Jones. Or for a business establishment like Messrs. T. Brown and Company. It denotes the name of a company. Look at this from Merriam-Webster, as I discussed. Yeah, this is a new rule. A new rule meaning I am discussing it for the first time. Used as a function word before the plural form of a surname to indicate all the members of a family. Now, the example is the Johnsons. Like there was a US President, Lyndon B. Johnson. Now, suppose President's family, they are all visiting. You can't say, I saw all the Johnsons. No, you have to say, I saw the Johnsons or I met the Johnsons. Okay, so add S to their surname, their family name, so it becomes plural, and you use definite article the. And what does it denote? It says to indicate all the members of a family. Like yesterday I met the Sharmas at the local mall. The Sharmas means Sharma family, so Sharma becomes Sharmas. Okay, so remember this. These are the useful things while using titles: Mr., Ms., Professor, Doctor, or whatever it is. I hope you find this helpful. Until the next video, bye.